Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something tonight. His mind won't let him forget you, even when he tries. Oh yeah, he can act tough. He can pretend he moved on. He can go out with the fellas, scroll through his phone, try to fill that space with distractions. But deep down in the quiet moments when nobody's watching, that's when your face shows up. That's when your laugh echoes back in his ears. That's when his mind starts playing that highlight reel of every little thing you did that made him feel alive. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Real today, see, when a man truly feels something deep for a woman, his mind becomes a storage house of those emotions. And I don't care how strong he thinks he is, how much he tries to put on that front like he's unbothered, his mind is working against him the whole time. Because the mind, ladies and gentlemen, it don't forget what the heart once felt. He might try to go about his business, stay busy, stack his money, hit the gym, hang out with his boys. All those things men do when they're trying to escape a feeling. But it never really goes away. It just sits there, quiet at first, but then it starts whispering to him. When the noise dies down, see, every man who has ever loved deeply knows this struggle. It's that battle between the part of him that says, move on, man, forget her, you're better off, and the part that keeps pulling him back to those moments that made him feel alive. His mind starts playing games on him. He'll be walking somewhere and suddenly remember the way you laughed at his stupid joke. Or he'll pass by a place you two used to go, and it's like a movie scene starts playing in his head, crystal clear. That's not by accident. That's because when you touch a man emotionally, when you reach that place deep inside where real connection lives, his mind grabs hold of those memories like precious treasures, even when he's mad at you. Even when he's convinced himself that he's done. And the harder he tries to shove those thoughts away, the stronger they come back. Because memories connected to real emotions don't fade easy. They got roots, deep roots. And a man's pride might make him say, I ain't thinking about her. But let me tell you his truth, ladies and gentlemen, his pride don't control his mind. His pride is loud in public, but his mind gets loud in private. When it's late, when he's alone, when the distractions are gone, that's when it hits him the hardest. That's when all those emotions he tried to lock away come flooding back like a tidal wave. And you got to understand something else too. It's not about weakness, it's about human nature. When someone makes you feel something real, your brain literally rewires itself around those experiences. That's why he can't shake the thought of you no matter how much he tries. Your smile, your voice, your touch, it's all stored in his mental vault. And the key to that vault ain't logic, it's emotion. That's why forgetting isn't as simple as just deciding to forget. Because his mind ain't trying to protect his ego. It's trying to protect what it believes was valuable. And if you made him feel loved, supported, seen, if you were his peace in a world full of chaos, trust me, his mind put that in the never forget category. He might get with someone else, he might travel the world, he might think he's moved on. But let me tell you, all it takes is one little trigger, one memory, one smell, one song, and suddenly he's right back in that place where his heart first woke up. That's the power of deep emotional memory, and no amount of running, hiding, or pretending can change that. His mind won't let him forget, not because he's weak, but because what y'all had meant something real, and real sticks around. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me when I tell you this. Real love, the kind that shakes a man to his core, leaves an imprint on his heart that no amount of logic can erase. See, people will tell him all kinds of things. His friends might say, man, forget her, move on. His family might try to give him advice, telling him it wasn't meant to be. His own mind might even try to give him a list of reasons why it's better this way. But the heart, ladies and gentlemen, the heart don't care about none of that. The heart operates on its own system. And when love has been real, when it's been deep and true, it leaves a mark that no reasoning, no argument, no logical explanation can rub out. A man can sit there all day trying to convince himself that he's better off. He can make a checklist of all the reasons why he should forget. But no matter how many times he tries to reason with himself, that feeling lingers. Because real love doesn't just touch the surface. It carves into the soul. It becomes a part of his identity. And when something becomes part of who you are, no logic in the world can just delete it. You see, love don't work like numbers. It ain't math. Love is that thing that makes no sense on paper but feels right in your spirit. That's why even the smartest man, the most calculated thinker, finds himself caught off guard by the pull of real love. It's not weakness, it's human. Because when you love someone in that real way, it lights up places in your heart and your brain that stay lit, even when the relationship ends. That's why even after the fights, even after the silence, even after the distance, something inside him still stirs when he thinks about you. It's because your presence wasn't just an event in his life. It was a transformation. You made him feel things he didn't even know he could feel. And once you open those doors in a man, once you awaken that part of him, he can't just close it back up because it hurts. That's why logic fails. That's why no advice, no distraction, no other woman can fully erase that imprint. Even when he tries to distract himself, tries to stay busy, tries to build a new chapter, somewhere deep inside, your fingerprint is still there. It's on his heart, on his soul. And sometimes, when he least expects it, it flares up again. He hears your favorite song, he smells that scent that reminds him of you, or he stumbles upon an old picture, and suddenly, all the logic in the world crumbles. All those walls he built with his mind fall apart in front of the undeniable truth that love like that doesn't just vanish. It doesn't fade quietly. And that's what makes it powerful, ladies and gentlemen. That's what makes real love different. It overrides logic. It breaks through defenses. It stands tall even when everything else says it should fall. A man can try to fight it. He can run from it. He can drown it in work, in noise, in other people. But when the heart has been touched in that deep, profound way, it carries that mark forever. That's why he can't forget. That's why no explanation can make the feeling go away. Because real love doesn't live in the mind, it lives in the heart. And the heart has a memory that's stronger than anything logic can handle. Ladies and gentlemen, let me break it down for you in a way that's plain and clear. The harder a man tries to forget a woman who touched his soul, the more powerful the memories become. See, forgetting ain't just about deciding to let go. It's a battle. And every time he pushes the thought of her away, it doesn't disappear. No, it comes back stronger, sharper, louder. That's the trick the mind plays when it comes to real emotional connection. It don't take kindly to being ignored. You try to shut it off, and it turns up the volume. Now, a man will try everything in his power to forget. He'll go out, stay busy, try to fill his days with noise and movement. He'll scroll through his phone like he's searching for something new, something fresh to erase the old. He'll convince himself he's got options, that life goes on. But late at night, when the world slows down and the noise fades away, that's when the memories show up. And they don't come gently. They come like a flood. They crash in, one after another, every smile, every word, every little detail he thought he could bury. And the more he fights it, the more those memories tighten their grip. Because love, real love, doesn't like to be silenced. It's not content to be packed away in a box somewhere in the back of his mind. It demands to be felt, and the harder he resists, the more his heart fights back with every single reminder. It's like trying to push down a spring. The more pressure you apply, the harder it snaps back. That's why forgetting someone who meant something real isn't just difficult, it feels impossible. Because what you resist persists. See, the human mind works in loops. When you tell yourself not to think about something, your brain locks onto it even more. So every time he says, I ain't thinking about her, he's actually feeding that thought, giving it more energy, more space to grow. And before he knows it, he's right back in that same place, haunted by the very thing he tried to run from. That's why a man will find himself waking up in the middle of the night, thinking about her without even meaning to. That's why he'll hear a song and feel that sting in his chest, even though he told himself he moved on. It's not weakness, it's nature. It's the mind's way of saying, this mattered, this was real, you can't just throw it away. And so every attempt to forget becomes another thread in the web of memory that binds him tighter. He might not admit it out loud, he might walk around with his chin up, acting like nothing touches him, but inside, every struggle to forget is making the memory stronger, is making her presence in his mind more powerful. And what makes it even harder is that these memories don't just come back as they were, they come back dressed up in nostalgia. They feel sweeter, deeper, more meaningful with time. The mind has a way of polishing them, making them shine, even if things weren't perfect back then. So now, not only is he fighting against a memory, he's fighting against an idealized version of what once was. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a battle no man. Because when love has touched your heart, no amount of effort can erase its echo. The harder you try, the louder it gets. The more you push, the deeper it pulls. That's the power of real connection. That's why even when he tries with everything he's got, her memory only grows stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make something real clear tonight. When a man can't forget a woman, it ain't about his pride. It's deeper than that. It's about his soul recognizing the value of what he had, even when his mind or his ego tries to act like it doesn't matter. See, pride is loud. Pride will have a man walking around saying, I'm good, I'm straight, I don't need her. Pride will make him post pictures like he's living his best life, smiling wide in public, even though he's torn up in private. Pride is all about appearances. It wants to win the outside battle. But the soul, oh, the soul plays a different game. The soul knows what's real. The soul can't be fooled by no mask, no front, no act. And when a woman comes into a man's life and brings peace, love, comfort, and real connection, his soul stamps that as valuable. His soul records that deep down. And even if his pride tries to write you off, tries to move on quick, tries to replace you with someone else, his soul ain't signing that paperwork. His soul is sitting back saying, hold up, you're not fooling me. That woman brought you something nobody else did. And no matter how loud pride yells, the soul whispers the truth. And that whisper, it never really stops. That's why you'll see a man act cold one minute and then seem confused the next. That's why he can go silent but still be checking up on you in secret. Because his pride is trying to win, but his soul is wrestling with that loss. And deep inside, there's a part of him that knows your worth, knows your love wasn't ordinary, knows that what you gave him was something you can't buy, you can't replace, and you can't fake. It was real. It was genuine. And that's the kind of thing that sticks to a man's spirit, even when everything else fades. See, the soul doesn't care about timing. It doesn't care about who was right or wrong in the argument. It doesn't even care about who walked away first. All the soul knows is energy. And when you brought him peace, when the world brought him stress, when you believed in him when nobody else did, when you loved him without conditions, that left a mark that pride can't erase. A mark that every new person he meets will be measured against, whether he admits it or not. So no, it ain't about his pride keeping you in his mind. It's his soul quietly reminding him that not every connection is equal. Not every woman is you. That's why he can try to move on, but still feel that pull when he hears your name. That's why he can sit across from someone new and still find himself comparing the little things. Because his soul already knows that what you two had was valuable beyond surface level stuff. Beyond looks, beyond status, beyond convenience. It was soul to soul. And that kind of connection doesn't die easy. That kind of value doesn't depreciate just because time passes. He might not admit it out loud. He might fight it. He might even try to hate you to make the pain easier. But deep down, that whisper from his soul keeps calling out your worth. Keeps reminding him that real love, real value can't be thrown away like yesterday's news. It lingers. It stays. And no amount of pride can drown out the truth that when a man's soul has recognized something rare, it will never let him forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the way a man's mind works when he's truly been touched by real love. Time can pass and miles can stack up between him and that woman, but his mind doesn't care about any of that. Time and distance, they fool the outside world. People will look at him and say, oh, he's over her now. It's been months, maybe years. They live in different places now. That chapter's closed. But they don't see what's happening behind that man's eyes. They don't see how his mind keeps pressing replay on moments that feel as fresh today as they did the day they happened. And suddenly he's right back there, right back in that moment when you smiled at him in a way that made his heart skip, right back in that conversation that made him feel understood like no one else ever did. And it don't matter how much time has passed. It don't matter if his calendar says years have gone by. In his mind, it's happening right now. That's the power of real memories tied to real emotions. They don't fade like old photographs. They stay